Thanks very much. Great to hear all the fascinating things that are already going on, and I think that we perhaps provide a little bit more of a technically focused role in how we fit within the Greater Manchester community. So I'm director of two things at the University of Manchester. So the first is Sustainable Futures. So we have a stand outside, and there's a talk in the next lightning session about that. But it's really the university's overarching or underpinning environmental sustainability effort. But then my research and where my expertise sits is within what's called the Sustainable Materials Innovation Hub. And so while this is academic, it sits between academia and industry and policy, where we really look quite critically at how materials might be sustainable and a lot of the unintended consequences of the decisions that we make. We work with a lot of big businesses, so on packaging, we work with different groups on how they can make more sustainable plastic packaging. We work with MasterCard in designing the world's first, recyclable credit card, in which we strip away the plastic and actually recover the metal that is inside that, and that's really economically and environmentally important. We work with quality control, and I think this is really essential if you're a business who's considering some sort of a sustainable transition, because if you don't know whether or not the recycled plastic is good enough for your particular application, there's a bit of reticence to use it. And we actually have to ensure that public safety and sort of the safety of those material environments is as important as us trying to make some sort of sustainable material switch. And then we work a lot with recyclers, so both in a broader sense, but also within Greater Manchester on the design of new investments in terms of material recovery facilities. And we do this at scale. So we work with about 500 companies since I moved to Manchester 6 years ago. And so what I know is that there's a desperate need for sustainable innovation. A lot of companies that really want to make those changes, and I'm fully supportive of Manchester being the best city in the United Kingdom. So I will die on that hill at least. And the key out of this is that we really have to not just make presumptions, right? And so if we think about a zero plastic world, we're not going to have plastic. Well, if we're still going to consume things, we have to think about the consequence of those material switches. So if we're trading one environmental challenge for another because we've switched from plastic to metal, or we've switched from a reuse system where we have to use an excessive amount of water to wash things, we really have to be quite careful about those material transitions. And so a lot of what we do is to quantify those differences. So to look quite critically about what we could do and what we can do in terms of defining sustainability. And the reality is that we need a future which involves a lot of reuse and repair, but we also have to think about where we need to do recycling, where we can deconstruct materials, and really how we can think about this as a business ecosystem. So we're not necessarily taking a yogurt pot and turning it into a yogurt pot, where we can take that yogurt pot and turn it into the dashboard of a vehicle. In terms of the work that we do, I'm just going to give an example of where we can work with a really cool local company. And this is something that we might not think of as being important, but if you were to think about how important conveyor belts are on transporting the things around our world and really driving, literally and figuratively, our economy, we actually have this huge hidden waste source. So 6 miles of conveyors, 1 ton of belt material is replaced per month. And to give you a sense of scale, just in Heathrow, that has 26 miles of conveyors alone. So tons and tons and tons and tons of material each day. And of course, where these fails is that the belts fall apart, right? And the belts tear. And then instead of actually trying to solve that problem, we throw that material away. And so EcoBelt had developed a technology to help repair this. We didn't invent this technology, but what we did help this company do is to really be able to articulate the sustainability message, to quantify which innovations were going to be better in terms of the performance, as well as quantify the environmental impacts of the stuff that they do. So it's just really remarkable that we have these companies on our doorstep who are able to deliver these innovations on something which we don't necessarily see. This is not household waste. If you have a house that's large enough to have conveyor belts in it, I think it's probably too large a house. But absolutely remarkable innovation. And we exist to help businesses define, refine, and improve the innovations that they're doing from a sustainability perspective. So if you are that kind of a business, or you just want to get in touch about what we do, please feel free to reach out. Thanks very much.